Good afternoon, Bison fans, and welcome to our second virtual Bucknell basketball luncheon of the 2021 season. My name is Todd Newcomb, and I want to take this opportunity to thank Maddie's Sporthouse Grill in Lewisburg for once again sponsoring this year's luncheon series. Please go out and support our local restaurants in the area, and certainly Maddie's Sporthouse Grill does a great job for Bucknell athletics. We've got a great lineup for you again today, featuring the head coaches of both the men's and women's programs, as well as some select student athletes. Before we begin with head coach Trevor Woodruff in our women's program, let me bring you all up to speed on where the program is at this point in the 2021 season. The women have continued their winning ways and are off to a program record 8-0 start. The Bison, going back to last year, have won 17 consecutive games, and it's been a calendar year since Bucknell's last loss on the women's side. The Bison are 6-0 in the Patriot League Central Division, and they've already clinched a Patriot League tournament berth with that record. So after a brief stoppage in the schedule, the Bison resumed play last weekend with a pair of victories over Lehigh to run their record to 4-0 against the Mountain Hawks this year. Sunday's win last weekend featured an incredible 18-point comeback at Stabler Arena, in which the Bison outscored Lehigh 27-9 in the fourth quarter to pull out the win. The Bison have three players averaging double figures in the scoring column, led by Taylor O'Brien, who's at 16.1 points per game, which is third in the Patriot League. Tessa Brugler at 13.4 points per game, and Abby Capp at 12.1 points per game are also in double figures for the Bison. Brugler leads the team and ranks second in the conference on the glass at 9.9 rebounds per game, followed by Autumn Seppi, who's at 5.3 rebounds per game. Seppi also leads the team and ranks fifth in the league, averaging 4 assists per game. Abby Capp is on the verge of breaking one of Bucknell's great records. She is 3 3-pointers shy of becoming the school's all-time 3-point field goals made record holder. That record is currently held by Molly Kramer, Hall of Famer here at Bucknell. She made 195 in her career, and Abby will enter her next game with 193 career makes at this point. All that being said, it's time to welcome our women's head coach, Trevor Woodruff, to today's program. Morning, Coach. Welcome.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So let's talk a little bit about the playing. Your defense has always been a trademark. It was great last year. It's even better this year. But as well, this year, your offense is putting up some really stellar numbers. What do you think is the cause for the surge in the offensive output?
Well, I would say even going back to last year, our offense was really efficient. We didn't score a ton of points necessarily because we didn't play a real fast pace, and we certainly didn't shoot quickly unless we got really good shots early, but we were very efficient. I think this year we've remained efficient, but increased the number of possessions. So, more possessions, obviously more shots, more opportunities to score. So I would say that really, it's just a little bit difference in pace.
So you just finished playing the same school 4 times in a row. My first question is, are you tired of brown and white? And secondly, how hard is it to play the same opponent 4 times consecutively?
Well, if we don't see them again, it wouldn't break my heart. Not so much for their colors, but because they're really good. They're difficult to play against. Really spread you out at all 5 positions and challenge your ability to guard the 3-point line. So they're just a tough matchup. And I think they're going to give everybody in the league problems. In terms of playing the same team 4 times in a row, there's some advantages. Obviously, you become very familiar with the other team. You know exactly what they're going to do. It doesn't make it easier to stop necessarily, but familiarity is a good thing. But they have the same familiarity with you, so things that you may normally get or surprise them with aren't a surprise. Actually went into practice last Monday and said to our team, our next opponent is very similar to our last opponent, just a little bit better because they had 2 more games of experience. So we're happy to get through that weekend. It was a challenge, no doubt, and we're better as a result.
Well, they always say it's really difficult to beat a team 3 times in a row, but you did it 4 times in a row. And let's take a second and go back to Sunday's game. So I had some fun with this, coach. I'm not a math major, but I did a little dissection. So you were down 18 points with 682 seconds left in the game. You outscored Lehigh 32-9 in that time frame to get the win. So in real time, you scored a point almost every 21 seconds while holding Lehigh to a point every 76 seconds. So that's my fun. That being said, what's the mindset on the bench, both as coaches and as players, when you're down 18 on the road? And then do you see any of your players in particular that are out there that tend to rally the team when you're in situations like that?
First, I'll say you really put your Bucknell degree to a test there. That was pretty impressive. First, I would say that last minute of the third quarter where we were able to go 5-0 against them, 5-0, I thought was really set the table for the comeback because it got the lead from 18 to 13. And so that I thought gave us a little bit of belief that maybe we could. Our message to the team was very simple. Don't try to score 15 points in one possession. Let's just win one possession offensively and then go get a stop. And if we can put a few of those together, then maybe we'll have a shot at the end. And that's really all that happened. We just played a little better. Shots went in, a couple, and all of a sudden it went from 18 to 15. And then by the television timeout, the media timeout at the 5-minute mark, it was 10. And then I really thought, I had a group of young women who believed we were going to be able to do this. So I think my last message to them in the media timeout at 5 minutes was, this is going to be an unbelievable story 5 minutes from now. We kind of, there was a little bit of a smile in the huddle, and they went out and they got the job done.
So you hear a lot of talk now, especially on talk radio, about the fact that there are no fans at a lot of these games, how important the bench can be in a game atmosphere. Yeah, they have to bring the energy. So how important was your bench during that fourth quarter?
Yeah, I don't know if it's any more or less important than normal, but it certainly is more recognizable. Obviously, they're the only other voices in the arena. And I think it has actually shined a positive light on our bench. I think our bench has been really strong the last couple of years, just in terms of the energy that they bring. And this has highlighted it because now it's just so much more obvious without anybody else around. So clearly their contributions on the floor when they go in the game, as well as their contributions when they're not in the game, are huge to the overall atmosphere of the arena and also the overall feel amongst the team.
So you continue to win in the conference, and you continue to build that bullseye that's put on your back as a team that's the perennial favorite. You're 8-0. That makes you the team that everybody circles on their calendar every time out. How do you continue to motivate your staff and your players, knowing you're going to get the opponent's best shot every game?
Yeah, that is a real challenge. I think just people in general, when you have success, you can become complacent. I don't think, necessarily our players specifically, but just human beings in general have to fight against that. And so we really approach every game the same way. We understand that in many cases, it's like the Super Bowl for our opponent. And so if we don't approach it in the same way, we set ourselves up for failure. So we do talk about it, we do explain and continue to emphasize the standard that we want to play as best as we can, regardless of the opponent. And so I think we really just try to compete against ourselves in terms of our preparation. And if we play our best or near our best, we have a chance to win. So that's really the focus, is just to play at or near our best.
I want to take a second and talk about a group of people that don't get a lot of uh, discussion normally, and they're kind of behind the scenes, and that's your assistant coaches. Can you talk about what it's been like to work with this group of assistant coaches and what they've brought to your program?
Yeah, I appreciate the question. And you're right. They're a huge part of what we do. The first thing I will say is, and this was an emphasis in the hiring process when we were putting the staff together, and certainly when we've put pieces back together here with some movement on the staff, we really want great people. And so that's the first thing we look like. Are these the type of people we want around our student athletes? And I think a home run as far as that goes. Our student athletes are surrounded by really, really great people first, who have the player's best interests at heart. And then their individual skills come into play. And I think we have a great fit. I think where one person's strengths maybe overlap with another's weaknesses and vice versa. So I think we have a great combination of folks, experience, youth, energy, all that stuff has fit. And so I feel really fortunate that I'm surrounded and our players are surrounded by great people.
Can you maybe elaborate a little bit on Coach Coleman and give us an update on what's going on with her?
Yeah, so she had the biggest win of the year so far. Her and her husband, Mike, back just before Christmas. I think I'm probably going to be wrong. I think it was December 22nd, gave birth to their first son, Levi, who's perfect. He's photogenic. He's terrific. And so she's not been with us. She is on her way back. She's actually now just cleared through her doctors to return to work. And so we got her through the tier 1 testing and all that. And so she'll be back with us now moving forward.
Well, that's good to hear. So Coach, I've got one final question for you, and it's from one of our viewers. This is from Don in Mifflinburg, Pennsylvania. He says, have you ever won or lost a basketball game where a timeout was called that the team did not have? Who on your staff is responsible for ensuring you and in turn your team knows if you have a final timeout?
Yeah, good question, Don. I don't know if that's ultimately how we won, but it certainly helped. We were ahead when that happened. But I don't remember another game specifically. There probably has been some. I can specifically remember a time where a mistake was made in the scorebook. There were technicals at the beginning of the game. I remember that for sure. For us, we use our director of operations. Sasha keeps track of both teams' timeouts as well as play fouls and some other key statistical things that we need to know. So when they called their last timeout, I think we knew it was a technical before they did because we were keeping track of theirs as well as ours. The scoreboard was incorrect. The scoreboard showed that they had one, but they didn't. And so as soon as they called the timeout, I was telling Allie Johnson, go to the foul line. Just let's plant the seed. Like, this is a technical. Get to the foul line. And fortunately for us, that's what happened, and she made both shots. So yeah, it was an interesting way to finish the game. You feel badly for them. They played such a great game. That to weigh in something that's outside the player's control kind of is a tough way to end. But we're not going to apologize for it.
All right. Well, Trevor, thanks so much for your time again today, and wish you the best of luck with the remainder of your season.
Yeah, thanks, Todd.
All right. It's now time to welcome the women's players to the show. Sophomore guard Ty Johnson and sophomore forward Carly Kirschel. Good afternoon, ladies, and thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. All right. So, Ty, we're going to begin with you. So Ty is a 5'8" guard from Gibsonia, Pennsylvania, and she attended Mars High School. My first question for you, Ty, is you've hit a bunch of clutch shots at the end of quarters this season. How big is it to add those last 2 or 3 points to the scoreboard right before that horn sounds?
It feels pretty good. I know that we need some points on the board, so I attack and make a play and get us some numbers.
Are you one that wants the ball in your hands when the last couple seconds are up there? Are you the one that wants
What
to?
did you say?
Are you one that wants and revels in taking those types of shots?
Oh yeah, I mean, I have confidence that I can put the ball in the basket and make the play, but you just have to believe in yourself. I mean, there's a lot of people on our team that could be put in the same position and do as well. So that's what I think.
Absolutely, absolutely. So outside of the changes that have come this year with the pandemic, what has been the biggest difference between your freshman and your sophomore season?
Definitely the uncertainty of everything. We kind of have a tentative schedule. We don't know what could happen this week. We don't know what could happen next week. So I think the biggest difference between last year and this year is just trying to remain focused and know that there are things you can control and there are things you can't control. And you just have to make sure that you show up to practice, you show up to games focused, ready for anything to change just like that. Just that's the biggest difference, I think.
So if I were to ask you what part of your game do you pride yourself most on, what would you say?
I would say my ability to score at all three levels. So I feel like with my game, I'm able to get to the basket. I'm able to shoot the three. And I think I also have a mid-range game I'm able to pull up. So I feel like once you are able to score at those three levels, it makes you a little bit harder to guard and a little more unpredictable.
Okay, and on the flip side of that, what part of your game do you think needs the most work?
Needs the most work. Definitely my closeouts. I think my closeouts need the most work. Just that side of the defensive aspect of the game, It's kind of one thing I am working on.
So Ty, what have you seen from the freshman class this year and the rookie players on the team?
I think that with all the adversity of this year, they've adjusted pretty well. I think they are a strong group of girls. They come to practice ready to compete, and I think they have a lot of confidence in themselves. They're really not scared to go out and get theirs. And I think they blend really well with our team. Off the court, we're all very close, and I think they're a pretty good fit for this program.
All right, and then my final question for you today, I alluded to this earlier with Coach, being that you guys are undefeated and you're perennially one of the best teams in the conference, you are the team that people circle on the calendar. How do you keep from having a letdown on any given day, no matter who your opponent is, because they're going to give you their best shot?
Yes, they are going to give us their best shot. So I think going into every game, we have to know that we're going to get the best version of every team. We're going to get all of their effort, all of their energy. So we just have to be ready to that, to match their energy and their effort to hopefully come out on the top.
Well, Ty, I really appreciate you taking some time today. Stay safe and healthy, and good luck with the rest of the season.
Thank you.
All right, so now we're going to turn to Carly. Carly is a 6'1" forward from Plymouth, Minnesota, and she attended Robbinsdale Armstrong High School. Thank you for being here, Carly.
Absolutely.
All right, so it seems to me like you've made a pretty big jump in your game from year one to year two. What are some of the things that you worked on during the offseason to improve your game?
Honestly, the biggest thing for me was just adjustment of style and really working with the program. I was playing a pretty free style, a very different style of basketball in high school, and just definitely getting a lot of the details down, like pivoting on the right foot, reworking my footwork, especially in the post. Obviously footwork in the post is a really big deal, and just adjusting to that and working just every day to improve my finishing. And it's really, freshman year is just like, it's learning. I felt like I relearned the game of basketball, and I think that was what I really worked on, was readjusting to the system.
I think that's a great way to put it. It's such a big adjustment from the high school level to the college level on all fronts, whether it's the offensive end or the defensive end, and you've done a great job so far. It ties into my next question perfectly. So how does it benefit you having two great senior front court players ahead of you in Tessa and Autumn, and what have you been able to take away from them?
Yeah, it's definitely huge. Having such great competition in practice, you learn something new every day. You have some of the top defenders, some of the top offensive players who are testing, my defense every single day. You know, they're going to find ways to score. You have to try to find a way to stop them the best you can. And that prepares you to play against the other best players in the league. And same with on offense, if a move doesn't work against them, it's probably not going to work in the game either. And, same with even playing against Ellie Mack last year, Ellie was fantastic player, you're guarding her. And sometimes you just got to be like, really nice shot, Ellie, really nice move. Tessa, really nice move step. But then you got to know in your head that you got to try to figure out how to defend it the next time.
Who's your biggest battle in practice every day?
Definitely Autumn Seppi. Me and Sepp definitely get into it. We're both fours. We both got really sharp elbows. So.
All right. So as the top team in the league, again, the same question I asked Ty, you guys are marked on everybody's calendar. How do you personally maintain your high level of play every single game, no matter who your opponent is, whether it's a team that has 6 wins and they're 6-2 or a team that comes in 0-6?
Yeah, I think it's just our mentality as a program. In practice, we compete every day. It's no easy buckets. Every game is a drill. Every drill is a battle. Every drill, somebody wins, somebody loses. And I think bringing that mentality into the games of just we practice with that mentality of there's going to be a winner. You got to battle in every single drill. I think we bring that mentality into games, and that's kind of what keeps us sharp and keeps us going.
All right. So my final question to you is a viewer question. And this is from Dave in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania. And his question is, Sunday's win at Lehigh was thrilling to watch. Can you talk about the mindset that allowed you to come back from down 18 points?
I think the ability just to stay positive. I know a lot of teams, especially when you start getting down, people start yelling at each other, things get tense within the team. And I think just believing in ourselves and staying positive. I know we had a big pep talk by Abby Capp at halftime that I think really tuned us in and got us back into the game. And, we weren't hitting all of our shots that we normally do in the game. And I think that continuation of positivity and cheering and celebrating every win that we did actually have during the game kept us going in that direction of positivity. And eventually we started making our shots and it brought us back.
Well, I know it was a thrilling game for a lot of fans to watch, and it had a great ending for us. So congrats on that game. And I know that you came down right from class today. I appreciate you doing that and joining the call. Stay safe, Carly, and thank you, and best of luck the rest of the way.
Thank you so much.
All right, before we get set to welcome in the head coach of the men's program, Nathan Davis, let me provide some information on where the men stand at this point in the 2021 season. After a tough start with some close losses over the first 4 games of the season, the men have flipped the script and have won 4 in a row. The Bison are currently 4-4 overall and 4-2 in the league's Central Division. And following their sweep of the Mountain Hawks last weekend, they've clinched a top 6 seed in the upcoming Patriot League tournament. All 4 of Bucknell's wins thus far have come against rival Lehigh over the past 3 weekends. Senior John Meeks returned to the lineup from injury during the first Lehigh series and has been a real catalyst since, averaging 24.1 points per game and 6.3 rebounds per game. He's posted 2 games of 30-plus points already, is shooting 49% from the field, and adds an extra level of leadership on the floor. Meeks has garnered Patriot League Player of the Week honors twice already, including last weekend after last weekend's games, and he became the first Bucknell player ever to score 30 or more points twice within a span of 3 games. Freshman Deuce Turner captured Patriot League Rookie of the Week honors this week after averaging 12 points to go along with 5 steals in the 2 wins over Lehigh. Andrew Funk joins Meeks in double figures, averaging 13.5 points per game, while freshman Andre Screen continues to lead the team in rebounding at 6.8 caroms per contest. Xander Rice leads the team and ranks 6th in the conference with 3.9 assists per game. All that being said, it's time to welcome in our men's head coach, Nathan Davis, to today's program. Nate, thanks for joining us. mean, flip yourself off a mute there, Coach.
Oh, sorry.
No problem. No problem. So first of all, congratulations. I know it doesn't mean a lot at this point, but congrats on clinching a top 6 seed for the Patriot League tournament. The first thing I want to know is, are you glad to see someone else besides Lehigh real soon?
It'll be nice. I mean, it's an interesting year, obviously, with so much up in the air from game to game. We're just happy that we've been able to play the last few weeks and look forward to playing some more.
All right. So it was a roller coaster week, and you just kind of alluded to that, with postponements at Colgate. Then we were declared to play Lehigh. We turned in 2 of our better performances of the season. How did the group stay focused throughout all of that?
I think you got to give our players a lot of credit, obviously, for everyone, not just our players, but everyone around. It's there's so much unknown, there's so much uncertainty, there's so much out of your control. I think our guys have done a great job of trying to focus on what they can control, rolling with the punches as they come, staying positive, and understanding that we still have an opportunity to accomplish something. And we got to keep focused and stay together and do the best we can.
So I would say probably the second half of Saturday's contest with Lehigh and all of Sunday's game were probably your team's best defensive stretch of the season. Is it a matter of the group gaining more experience together, or what do you see in terms of the defense getting that much better?
Well, I think our guys have done a good job of understanding it's a team defense. It's not about one guy guarding one guy, it's everybody. And I thought the biggest difference in the last few games was that we really helped each other out. We were in position, we were early, we communicated well, so we were there to help each other out. So it wasn't a one-on-one game, it was a one-on-5 deal. And when we do that, we got a chance to be pretty good at that.
So I know you've talked about his importance during your recent post-game interviews, but John Meeks has scored 98 points in his 4 games back, but he brings so much more than just his offense to the program. What does John Meeks mean to you to have him healthy and in your lineup?
Well, I think there's a number of things. Obviously, the points are a big deal. Let's not get around it. When you can score like that in the ways he can, it's a matchup nightmare for other people. But I think that he has a number of things. One, he's been playing so well throughout the offseason. Guys have a lot of confidence in him. He's kind of the security blanket for everyone, where there's you kind of know you can get the ball to him and something good's probably going to happen for him or somebody else if he's there. So there's kind of security blanket with that. I think that he's in the best shape of his life, so he can run forever. He's a good defensive player on the ball and off the ball. He's a communicator, and he holds his teammates accountable. He'll call stuff out, people out in practice before the coaches even can sometime. And whenever your guys giving that much effort and doing that much, and he's doing it, it goes a long way in the performance of your entire roster. And then add to it, he's been around. He's got experience. He's played in big games. He's been through it before, and there's no substitute for that experience.
How much? Obviously now he's healthy, and how much has that made a difference in his game? I mean, the spin move to the basket he made this past weekend was one I hadn't seen before from John Meeks, but obviously he's got a whole repertoire of ability and ways to score. Now that he's healthy, it changes his whole game offensively.
Well, there's no doubt about it. I think he's shown flashes in the past of what he's capable of, but unfortunately he's just never been really fully healthy. This year he was healthy all off season, so he's in great shape. So when he did suffer the injury, unfortunately, he was able to kind of keep going and stay in pretty good shape. And he's come back and hasn't missed a beat. Health and his body and where it is, he's just so much more explosive than he's been.
Another guy that I think has really developed and is coming more into his own is Xander Rice. And he's got 31 assists this year and only 9 turnovers. How has he progressed as a point guard, you think, from his freshman year to this year?
I think he's done a great job. I think that he had a tremendous offseason. He really worked at his game, so he improved in the areas he needed to improve. I think mentally he's taken a step, and that I thought in the first couple of games he was a little hesitant. I thought really when we went down to Lafayette, he stepped up and became much more aggressive and played the way he'd been playing in practice, as far as his shot selection, his getting in the lane, his willingness to create. He'd been doing all those things really well in practice, and it started to really carry over then. And I think one of the things that it's hard to see, I think probably on TV, since no one can be in the building, it's easier to hear now, is how much he talks to guys. He's very vocal, communicating with guys on the floor. He's not a negative guy, but he's very vocal, talking about where people need to go, what's expected of them. And I think your point guard, those are all big things in helping us get better.
You just made a really great point. And I think for those watching at home and those that do watch on TV, you can't hear how the players communicate. But if you're in the gym right now, you can, I don't think it's just him. I think it's your entire team. The communication has been great this year. And maybe it's because there aren't fans there and we can hear it. But I would definitely second that. It's definitely something I noticed. Walter Ellis. So I'm sure he was really relieved this weekend as his threes went in one after another. He was 8 for 12 combined in the 2 games. Did he make any adjustments on his part with his shooting, or do you think it's just a good shooter getting back into his rhythm?
I think it's more the latter. I thought that in the first few games, he had taken good shots. They hadn't gone in. Obviously, look at his three-point percentage over his career. He's a good shooter. And as long as he continues to take good shots, continues to work on it, which he was going to do, there's no doubt he was going to do, and he did, that they were going to go in for him eventually. It's like another example of this year. At this time of year, usually in late, or I guess now we're in February, usually in February, and you have a sample size of 20 games or so to play. We played 8. And so the sample size isn't there for things to kind of balance out. So there's going to be big swings from game to game based on how guys play in one particular game. And unfortunately, like I said, he missed some shots he expected to make, but he came back strong this weekend and knocked him down. And hopefully that will continue moving forward. But on the same side, I want to make note that I think he's done a really good job defensively. He's been the guy we've been assigned to guard the other team's best perimeter player from the start of the game, and he's taken that task and run with it. Despite not even when he wasn't making shots, I thought he was doing a good job with that. So he was helping us in a number of ways without making shots.
And I think his leadership has been great too. We definitely saw this past weekend. Clearly, the confidence from making those shots helps, but he was very vocal with the team, especially when you were ahead in the game at home. And he was basically, let's not let up, let's keep going, keep the pressure on. And he was very instrumental in that. And I know that he had the ability to work out with his father this offseason, which typically he hasn't had that ability with his dad being, a broadcaster and traveling so much. How much do you think that helped him that he had that ability to work out with someone like his dad at home?
I think anytime you get to be around somebody like his father, LaFonso, who's first off an unbelievably great person. He's one of the nice people you'll ever meet, one of the most down-to-earth people you ever meet, but he's played at a high level, obviously a top 5 pick in the draft. I think he was on the all-rookie team, had a long NBA career, played with great players. You want to talk about somebody that's seen it all and knows all the tricks. He's definitely got that, and I think that's a great resource for him, and I know how he is. He'll be a great resource for everybody in the program moving forward.
So we're going to talk with a couple of your big men here in a minute. How has that group progressed this year, and what do you think that we have to look forward to with those guys?
I think you're going to see big things from them. I think one of the great things about our team is, as you look across the board, I think, especially at our 4s and 5s, we have tremendous depth and tremendous talent, and guys have really worked, and they all came back better. And I think that they're going to keep pushing each other and making each other better, and minutes will go up and down. We'll see where it goes moving forward, but I think that every single one of them has and will continue to contribute to our success.
All right, so I've got one final question for you, Coach, and it's a viewer question, and this is from Claudia in Fairfax, Virginia. She wants to know, what's the strategy going forward to boost defense and rebounding?
Continue to work on it and harp on it. I think that a couple things that go is that, like I said, we are getting healthy now, and we're tracking everybody back this weekend for the first time. So that competition and practice certainly helps up the stakes day in, day out. So you come with that, but you continue to drill it and work on it and emphasize it. And I think we've shown that it's gotten better and better. And I'd like to think it's continuing to get better moving forward.
Actually, I lied. I have one other question.
All right, go right ahead.
All right. So it was something that was definitely noted this weekend at home. And I'm wondering if you said something to the guys, or if the guys on the bench have just taken it on their own to become so much more vocal and enthusiastic in the game. The bench was phenomenal this weekend. And I know how important that is with no fans.
Yeah, well, I think our guys have done a great job with that over the years. And I thought, like you said, I thought it was really noticeable it stood out to me, Malachi and Alex and Jordan were up the entire game, and I could hear it. And I think that's a big part of it. Everyone contributes every game. It takes a group effort to win. And I think the guys on the bench bringing that energy is huge for us. And like I said, it keeps you engaged because you never know what you're going to be called upon. Everyone's going to be needed at some point, and you got to be engaged and ready to get in there and paying attention and being involved on the bench is a big part of that.
Well, Coach, again, we really appreciate your time today. Best of luck with the remainder of the season.
Thank you, Todd.
All right, now it's time to welcome in our men's players to the show. Sophomore forward Malachi Rhodes and sophomore center Alex Timmerman.
How we doing? Thanks for having me.
All right. How are you?
Doing pretty well.
Thanks for being with us today. We'll get Malachi to put his video on.
Okay, can you hear me now?
There we go. How you doing, Malachi? Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so Malachi, we're going to get things started with you today. Malachi is a 6'8" forward from Marietta, Georgia, where he attended Wheeler High School. So what are some of the areas of your game that you worked on during the off season?
I know for me personally, shooting has kind of like something that's been like a part of my game, but something that I didn't like have to depend on, and 3-point shooting specifically. And I just know I've worked on it pretty much every day to just be able to be confident and be able to shoot with confidence so it can relay over to the season and, continue to keep getting better with it now. So it's just continuous grind with it.
How hard was it to work on something like that when you were at home during the pandemic? Did you have access to a facility or somewhere where you could actually do that type of work?
Yes. At the beginning of quarantine, it was kind of tough because pretty much everything was closed. But after that, I had some high school coaches that opened the gym, and my trainer Lewis Clinch had the gym open for me. So it's just ample amount of time to get the work in and get to the places where you want to be.
So as I mentioned, you're from Georgia. How'd you hear about Bucknell, and how'd you wind up here as a Bison?
It's really my teammates, in the program, winning program, and mix it with these guys that I really go be with and around all day, every day. They help make everything better, being so far away from home. And, it's just a different experience. It's nothing wrong with trying something new. And I was excited about it. So I just went with 100% about it.
So had you heard of Bucknell before a coach reached out to you in the recruiting process?
Yes, I've heard of it a little bit.
Okay. So we've got a big man theme here with both of you guys. Tell us about the camaraderie that exists between the big guys.
I know for me personally, I talk to pretty much all the big guys every day. With us having to battle so much in practice, it only builds camaraderie for each other. We go at each other all day, every day, and it just makes us better. And if we go at each other that hard in practice, it'll only make the game so much easier. So that's just how we kind of.
It also.
So you go at each other in practice all the time, Malachi. Who's the toughest guy to go against?
Me, definitely.
No.
No, who's the toughest guy you go against?
I know, Tim, he got that big body. You got to battle and push him around. Meeks, he just got a whole plethora of moves, so you just have to always keep yourself ready and be on your toes with them as well. So just makes everybody better.
So Coach and I just talked a little bit about, and this applies to both of you, but I'm going to get your take on it, Malachi. Coach and I were talking about how important the bench is during games. There are no fans in these facilities. There's no fan excitement and enthusiasm to ride that emotion. And I've noticed you in particular have been standing up most of the game, keeping your team involved. How important to you personally is that? And why do you take such pride in that?
I really I just take pride in everything I do. So it's just, I want to find a way to contribute on the court, off the court. If it's me yelling at my teammates, calling out plays from the sideline, calling out defensive calls, if that's what I have to do, then that's what I have to do. And I know my teammates, me personally, and them, they like when our bench is engaged, bringing energy, especially because there's no fans now, and it's really important that everybody's really locked in and bought in. So the bench even creates a better atmosphere for what the circumstances are right now.
So Mal, you already talked about this a little bit and kind of stole my thunder because it actually was a question I had.
Okay.
How tough it is to guard John Meeks.
Mm-hmm.
What has it meant for the team to have John Meeks back in the lineup?
Oh, it means a lot because, he's one of our best players. He's scoring a lot. He does a lot of great things. And in practice, I feel like if we go at him as hard as we can in practice, it'll only make him better to keep doing what he's doing in the game now. So I just feel like that's a reflection of how hard he works and how hard we, work him.
Well, Malachi, I know you also came straight from class today. Appreciate you doing that. Stay healthy and good luck the rest of the season.
I appreciate it.
All right, Alex, let's turn to you. So Alex is a 6'9" center from Crystal Lake, Illinois, and he attended Crystal Lake Central High School. So Alex, the first thing I want to ask you is, what did you do in the offseason? Because you came back this past fall in the best shape I've seen you in since you've been here. What were your workouts like, and how did you do that?
Well, yeah, obviously when we got sent home, I had a lot of time on my hands to focus on this. And so, I mean, obviously it was a little limited with Corona and the gyms being shut down and everything. So one of the biggest changes I tried to make was I met with the nutritionist here, and we kind of put together a little meal plan, and that I followed and was able to help me drop a couple pounds. And then I also was lucky to be able to have, my dad had a Peloton in the house. So I would hop on for 45 to an hour every day, get a nice little cardio workout. And then I was also able to be blessed with a weight set that we had in the basement previously. So I was able to really focus on my diet and then do a little cardio and a little lifting every day. That was really able to help me lose a couple pounds.
And have you seen that pay dividends in your game, especially when you came back to practice with all the rest of the team and then in games now?
Yeah, I definitely feel a lot better out on the court, just a little more explosive, a little quicker. So it definitely has paid off a little.
So I want to talk a little bit about last weekend's game when you came in and you had to guard Nick Lynch, who's Lehigh's center and one of their best players. You did a great job on him defensively. How hard have you worked on your defense? And do you feel that your defense is an underrated part of your game?
I think at times, I mean, I think I'm pretty physical, and I think I'm a lot more physical than other bigs might be used to. So I like battling it out in the post. So if I'm able to get minutes and apply that physicality, I think it can be a good tool. And I think it was good in Lehigh's game. So I was happy.
So in terms of your game itself, what parts of your game right now do you think have improved and have gotten better? And where is an area or two that you think you still need to work on?
I would say just like my overall speed and quickness is one of the things that improved most. And then I would just continue working on finishing, and then everything can also just still be improved. Just always trying to get better. So defense too, passing, shooting.
Okay. So talk a little bit about what the 7-footer Andre Screen has brought to the program, both on the court and off. Bucknell's first 7-footer, and what's it been like to go against him in practice?
It definitely took a little time to get used to, and I'm still getting used to going against him in practice because he's by far the tallest kid I've ever played it with. So being able to go against him every day and just his height and his length was definitely something I need to get used to because he was blocking a lot of my shots. But it's nice to, I think me and him push each other a lot because my physicality and his length and height both allow us to push each other to finish better down low. So I think it's a good little duo.
I've mentioned this several times already, but I want to get your take as well, because as I mentioned, you and Malachi both are two of the biggest vocal cheerleaders on the bench when you're not in the game. You know, in your opinion, how important is that to do that for the team to help build momentum and give some added advantage to the team on the floor?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more important than ever right now, just without having any fans in the building. It's just nice to be able to contribute and to bring a little energy from the bench, just do whatever we can to help provide a spark.
Well, Alex, I want to really thank you for taking the time to be with us today, and stay safe and healthy, and enjoy the rest of the season. Good luck with it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right. So a special thanks to all of our guests today. We certainly appreciate their time. As a reminder, don't miss out on the opportunity to get yourself into Soika Pavilion with a fan cutout. You can do that by visiting our website, bucknellbison.com. Just about wrap up today's luncheon. Our next and final virtual luncheon of the season is March 3rd, which is also a Wednesday. I want to thank Jeffrey Campbell, John Terry, Ben Blumenthal, and Jess O'Shaughnessy for their assistance with today's event. Everyone have a great day, and go Bison.